our office and our community is finally feeling some relief. I think we are finally have our heads above water a little bit. We have cleared the backlog that was drowning us. And in fact, there's research that shows that people who go into jail, even for as little as a week on cash bail on misdemeanor offenses, is more likely to commit violence when they're released because of the circumstances they're exposed to while they're in jail.
I just want everybody, my hair is up now, but I want everybody to know that I had an amazing hair day today. It was phenomenal. Oh my God.
Is this on the agenda? You said you had this.
I'm on top of it.
All right.
Okay, so.
Hello, Vermont. I'm Andy Julo.
And I'm Joanna Grossman.
And this is There's No Way in Creemee.
Vermont, politics, culture, and beyond.
Thanks for joining us.
Hello, and welcome to There's No Way in Creemee. You can tell, nearing the end of the season because we are losing it.
Keep it together.
How are you doing today, Andy?
It's been an interesting day. I think I'm a little tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've noticed that I am not as sharp as I normally am.
I didn't say not as sharp. Yeah. But I think we both had a long day and a long week and a long year.
Well, today I jaywalked and you were like, wow, because I never jaywalk. And you're like, Andy Julo is jaywalking.
I did say that.
And I think I just walked in the street because I lost track of where I was and which direction I was going. I did.
I think it was an act of resistance.
It could have been.
Yeah.
It could have been.
I respected it.
No. It's been a long day. Had a bit of a bad hair day, but
I don't think so.
It's keeping together.
Well, the viewers will tell us.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of Andy's hair today?
It's just not doing what I want it to do. And
I understand.
I'm a little bummed about that. But
I'm sorry about your hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're listening on audio, you're missing
so much
content.
I just want everybody, my hair is up now, but I want everybody to know that I had an amazing hair day today. It was phenomenal. Perfect, defined curls. I slightly changed my product regimen and it was best day ever, but it was hot and humid and we just did a bunch of doors. And so I put my hat on and that required stuffing the curls away, and now they're crushed. And
your good hair day was just adding to my inadequacy over my hair day.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. Well, we'll definitely have to dive into
I'm
that.
happy for you, but
yeah, thank you.
Also not.
Yeah, there's bitterness there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I hold that my hair is harder to manage. So.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
well, I don't know. If it's short, it's going one way and there's really nothing you can do about it.
It is a big commitment having short hair. So when I had short hair for a long time and it's you can't, you can't put it up. You can't, it's done. It's on your head.
It's really too short to braid too, because that hides a lot.
Oh my God.
Is this on the agenda? You said you had this.
I'm on top of it.
All right.
Okay. So I wanted to tell the listeners and you also that I went to a really cool event Sunday morning. The Champlain Parkway is opening, 40 years in the making in my neighborhood. Champlain Parkway, it was called the Connector.
That was always built like it was going to be finished in the 80s, and then this is they're just finishing it now?
I don't know.
All right.
No, I'm just kidding. So if you're watching, I just nodded yes.
Yeah.
Okay, deceptive. So it was started. I don't know exactly when.
All right.
It would be great if I had that
All
information.
right.
I'd feel very cool if I did.
All right. In my head, I always thought I remember driving down that.
Oh, really?
But maybe I didn't, and it was just abandoned.
I mean, it's a road that was there, and people would walk their dogs there. And actually, so before they just redid it, it was actually this really, people had custom made it into a skate park.
Yeah.
And it was because it was paved. Yeah. It just was never open.
Down there. Yeah.
Yeah. And people had made these ramps, and there was kind of a graffiti park. And we used to, when Issa was little, especially during the pandemic, Issa, now Spencer, we used to go down there and walk around and it was cool. Yeah. More recently, it was maybe a little more seedy, but yeah. But it was cool. Yeah. But anyway, they just they haven't opened it to traffic yet, but there was a race there and SD Island and the fire department and Department of Public Works for Burlington were all there with very cool vehicles, fire truck, cement mixer, the tall SD Ireland thing. What is that called?
It was the concrete pump.
That.
Yeah.
And
you get more excited about large trucks than any middle-aged woman I know.
Steve was like, oh my God, you're what did he say? Oh yeah. your inner 12-year-old boy really comes out when you're around large vehicles.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't technically have one of those, but I know what he meant. And the SD Ireland, it has been a long day. The SD Ireland guy let me climb up the concrete mixer pump thing all the way up the ladder and look into the mixer. It was awesome.
That's amazing. I've given them thousands of dollars and I have not gotten to do that.
Did you ask?
No, maybe that was. Did you ask?
Did you bat your eyelashes at them?
I don't even know if I have eyelashes, so I guess no.
It was a positive experience. I highly recommend it. And I talked to the Fightin' Five, our firehouse guys, for a little bit too. And as I've told you before, I was an emergency responder for World Trade Center, so like I've got a real soft spot for firemen, and that was really fun. I got to sit in the truck.
Did they let you beep the horn?
I didn't ask. Oh my God, I really missed out.
Yeah, you could have batted your eyelashes over that one too.
Well, I'm going to have to go next year. Strong recommend.
There's no next year. They're opening it next week.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But I feel like there will be another Touch a Truck event.
The concrete parade that we went to.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a lot of 6-year-old boys sitting there pulling the horn, but I wonder if they would let you do it too.
I think they would if I asked nicely.
Yeah, you might have to displace a 6 or 12-year-old boy.
No, I was so patient. Because there were always kids.
One of your qualities, for sure. Yep.
There were always kids who wanted to sit in the truck, and I totally understand that. So I waited until there was a gap.
Okay.
And that was when I got to experience the vehicles from the inside. It was amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good times. Strong recommend. I'm sure there'll be a similar truck event next year. Just maybe, yes, you're right, the Champlain Parkway will be open, and that's a good thing. I've seen the signs up on the highway already.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they're under a little canopy.
They're like wrapped, yeah.
They are very poorly concealed. They're wrapped with see-through fabric.
They might as well say spoiler alert on them. Yeah. Yeah, but they're great. It's very exciting. I had a fun campaign event this weekend too. We had a postcarding party. That was fun. At Queen City Brewery, had a bunch of friends come by and write postcards to our voters.
Yes, my niece was there.
Yes, Marie. She made the best ones.
I think she did.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a competition going about who could do the most, and she lost by 4 postcards.
So she almost made them. Oh, did you win?
No, Corinne did. Yeah.
That figures.
I was doing stickers. I was kind of taking my lane. I was sticking address labels on the postcards.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I don't have the best handwriting. I mean, I did some, but I'm not super.
Marie's were really pretty.
Mm-hmm. She did multicolors.
Yeah.
I think if she'd stuck to one color per postcard, she would have taken Corinne.
Yeah, but she took one for the team. She made them pretty. We're using hers as the samples for the remaining.
She did. We let her take home. The prize was the pizza, the remaining pizza, and we let her take it home anyway because it was like full of pepperoni, and she wanted that anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that all works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was fun to have her there. Yeah, like my postcarding days go back to Trump won when I was
That's
doing
my favorite part of campaigning.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because I can do it in my house without talking to people.
Yeah.
That primary, I just sat there and did postcards for the most part.
Yeah.
And then I hired you.
Right.
And you're like, no,
I
you
ruined
have
it
to
all.
go talk to people.
You were in such a good groove on your couch.
I thought this is great. I just got a huge stack of postcards. We'll put on something dumb in the background that I've seen a million times and write postcards.
I am learning something about our 2024 campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, yeah, so I've been doing these postcards for, easily 10 years. Yeah. Since Trump won and Trump won the number the first time. Yeah. And we would do postcards to red states and try to help flip congressional seats and stuff. So it was fun to do them for my own campaign. Yeah. We did another Creemee stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Went to Judy's.
Judy's in Williston.
Yeah.
It's a nice place.
What a cool spot.
It really was.
Oh my God. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
They had an affogato.
Yeah.
Which is, the way they make it, they pour espresso over a Creemee.
Espresso.
Espresso.
I know.
Yeah. And it was really good. Yeah, my volunteer who I met there, that's what she had gotten.
Yeah,
and so I had to get one too.
Corinne got one
And
too.
Corinne got one
Yeah,
too.
I kind of wanted one, but I figured I should get something standard to kind of compare
Yeah.
to their places. So I got the maple raspberry twist.
How was it?
Very good.
It was.
Yeah.
Mine was good too.
All right.
Yeah. That I really liked that place. The menu was huge.
It really was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, they had hard ice cream too.
That's true. And like legit, when I ordered the affogato, they were like, "Do you want decaf or regular espresso?"
Seriously?
Yes.
Oh wow.
I was like, "Oh my god."
It's hard to find decaf espresso.
Yeah, well, I was impressed.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good. And so is the interview we did this week.
That is correct.
Yeah.
This is our second interview for
Yeah.
Chittenden County State's Attorney.
You asked, we delivered.
That's correct.
We were not.
And if you didn't ask, we still delivered.
That's right. We were not really going to get into this level of granularity of the campaigns, but we had a lot of people asking about the Chittenden County State's Attorney's race and would we bring the candidates on, and so we did.
We did. We went back to the Media Factory.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yep, we had Bram last week, and this week we had Sarah George. And it was really interesting to talk with her and hear her philosophy on the post. And yeah, we hope you guys really enjoy it. Hello and welcome to There's No A in Creemee. Sarah George, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. A lot of people have been asking about you and about this race, so I'm excited we finally got you in the studio.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about you and your background and how you got into this.
Okay. I grew up in Vermont. I'm from Quechee, Vermont. Went to Hartford High School. Went to the University of Connecticut, got my degree in criminal justice and psychology, and then came back to Vermont to Castleton State College and got my master's degree in forensic psychology with a plan to become a behavioral analyst for the FBI. But then decided I did not want to move to D.C. and didn't want to leave Vermont at all. And so I actually moved up to Burlington in 2007 and decided to go to law school and became a prosecutor in the Chittenden County State's Attorney's Office straight out of law school. So I was hired by then Chittenden County State's Attorney T.J. Donovan in January of 2011. So I've been a prosecutor for about 15 and a half years. And in 2017, I was appointed to the state's attorney's, the elected position when TJ became our attorney general. So I finished his term and then was formally elected in 2018 and then again in 2022. Awesome. So I've been the state's attorney for about 9.5 years.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Can you help us demystify that role of state's attorney,
Yeah.
what it is, how it fits in the landscape of law enforcement?
Yeah. So the elected state's attorney in each county, all 14 counties in Vermont have an elected state's attorney, and they are considered the top law enforcement officer in their county. Their responsibilities are to prosecute the state criminal law violations in each county. And we are staffed by at-will employees. So we hire our own employees. The number of positions that we get in each office is determined by the legislature. And then we have a central office, like an executive committee that decides. And each of us as we're independently elected, we are responsible for creating any policies or practices related to prosecution within our counties. And in Chittenden County, we're the third of the state's population, and we're by far the largest office. We have 14 attorneys in the office, including myself. And we prosecute between, 10 to 15,000 cases a year. Plus family court cases, juvenile delinquencies, and all of the CHINS cases, so children in need of supervision. So anytime that a kiddo is being taken out of their family's custody and into Department of Children and Families, our office is involved in that process. So that's probably, with the juvenile delinquencies and CHINS, probably another few thousand cases
Okay, so tell us why you're running for re-election.
So I ran in originally because I really wanted to I wanted to strengthen the conversation around criminal justice reform. TJ Donovan was certainly, considered a reform prosecutor, and I wanted to strengthen that conversation and strengthen the practices within our office that went along with that conversation. So that's why I initially ran. And then in 2022, when I was up for re-election, it was, arguably some of the worst times in our state's history, in our country's history. Things were really not going well in our communities around the state. Our housing crisis was being exacerbated. People's mental health and substance use issues were being exacerbated, and violence was up statewide. We had our highest rate of homicides, and in Burlington, we had a significant number of gunfire incidents. And I felt like I needed to see us through that, and then come up with some real solutions on how to get past it or through it, which has frankly taken about 4 years. I feel like in the last 6 months, our office and our community is finally feeling some relief. I think we are finally have our heads above water a little bit. We have cleared the backlog that was drowning us. And that backlog was creating the sense in the community that people weren't being held accountable because they weren't being tried. Their cases were not being prioritized as we were navigating, resolving, and trying all of our homicide cases and gunfire incidents from 2022. And so, I feel like because that relief has just recently come to us, I want to continue now to sort of see what we can do next. And I think that right now we're at a really precious time that a change in leadership could be really detrimental to the progress that we've made, because we have worked really hard to rebuild our relationship with law enforcement and build relationships with community organizations that are helping us do this work, because prosecutors are not social workers. We are not housing experts. We're not legislators. We have to rely on all of these organizations to do this work. And that comes with a lot of trust, both ways. And, I feel like we have that trust right now. We have really good relationships in the community. We have a good relationship with our court. And I want to be able to see that through.
You just talked about this, but this issue of public safety, we've heard a lot about it. Where do you feel we're at in public perception? Is that accurate? And where do you feel we are actually with public safety?
Yeah, I think that, I've said a lot that it takes 5 seconds to lie about something happening in our community, and it takes me 4 years to fix it. And that's still true. I mean, the public perception sometimes feels insurmountable. But then when I really go into community and talk to people, I realize that those voices, the loud voices, are not the majority voices. People who are saying they won't go downtown anymore because it's X, Y, or Z have clearly not been downtown, right? And it's that lie and that narrative are starting to sort of show itself, because when you go downtown, it's beautiful and businesses are starting to thrive again. And yes, there are unhoused people that are suffering. And, I think that the perception of that can go both ways. You can see that and be angry and think they should be in jail, or you can be angry and think they should be housed, right? And for me, it's the latter. I see that and I do get outraged, but not because I think they should be disappeared. It's because I think they deserve to have a place to live. So having conversations with people, I'm realizing that narrative is sort of dissipating as people do see what it's actually like downtown, and talking to people about the fact that crime is down, violent crime especially is way down, and that people are being brought into court quicker and being held accountable quicker, and people are starting to see those results.
Yeah, I think that's true. I'm out on doors all over the county all the time, and as you may know, I work for a Church Street business. I work for Phoenix Books.
Yeah.
And I do often hear people say like, oh, downtown's such a mess. I'm like, oh, well, come back and check it out. Give us another try. Because I do think that's true. It is. I just have to validate, like, it is really feeling better for sure.
Yeah.
So we're seeing all kinds of clashes between the public and ICE now here in Vermont, which is a scary time. And, I feel like we're living in a time where trust is starting to be broken down between the public and law enforcement. What role does your office play in ideally rebuilding that, I guess?
Yeah. I think that this has been one of the issues that gets kind of exacerbated a lot, is this idea that because my office doesn't always agree with law enforcement or vice versa, means that we don't have a good relationship, or that one of us is not doing our job correctly. The reality is healthy conflict between our agencies is good, right? Neither one of us should be playing to the other, like whatever they want, or kowtowing to the other. So we're just like finding that healthy balance. This is a place, I think, that we have not seen before in this same way, where we, I think, all agree, including a lot of local agencies, that our federal law enforcement agencies are out of control and are doing really scary things and really unlawful things. And we as a community are trying to figure out what to expect from our local agencies, right? I mean, March 11th certainly highlighted that. I think that we need to have law enforcement at the table, local law enforcement at the table, and I'm trying to, have a lot of conversations with them about hearing from the community directly about what they want from them. I mean, they are our law enforcement agencies, and they should be listening to us as their constituents about what we want to see when ICE is coming into our communities. And so far, I think that's happening. I think those conversations are happening, but I'm still seeing a lot of resistance, of like a lot of defensiveness and a lot of resistance and a lot of like, well, that's not my role, or that's not for us to decide. And I think it is. And so I think that communities should be talking to their mayors or their select boards or their city councilors or whoever is sort of in charge of their police agencies and demanding those conversations. And helping to come up with policies about what they want to see when this inevitably happens again. And so I'm trying to just give people those options. The police don't answer to me, but talking to them in all of these spaces and encouraging community members to talk to the people that do control those decisions, and how to do that, like who to get in touch with and how to best go about doing that.
So along those lines, and thinking more broadly, Chittenden County is a very big place, and we think of it as the metro center of Vermont, and it is in part, but it's also very rural. Yeah. It's kind of a microcosm of the entire state. So are you hearing different things and different needs from different communities across Chittenden County, or are there common themes that are bubbling up? Yeah, both. I mean, that's kind of the beauty of, a couple of weeks ago, I started my morning in Burlington, and then I was at an event in Milton, and then I went to an event in Jericho, and then I was at an event at night in Huntington. I was like,
circumnavigating.
Yeah, exactly. And I live in Colchester. So I just was like, okay, I got all of these different areas of the county, and they're all so different. They're all so beautiful in their own and different ways. And a lot of the conversations were the same. And it wasn't the thing, that we keep hearing. It wasn't about downtown Burlington. It was about, like, what are we doing to keep our community safe from law enforcement, from ICE, our immigrant neighbors, and our undocumented neighbors? And also, how are we using our resources as a community efficiently? When you are in rooms with people and you start talking about the costs of incarceration, that we spend $312 a day to incarcerate somebody, and that I think a third of our state's incarcerated population right now have not been convicted of any crimes. What could we do with that money? People are like upset about that. And again, these are the the majority voices are that. Like, I don't want my community members in jail. I don't want to pay for that. I know it doesn't work. What are we doing in its place? And that is a hard conversation. It's a lot easier, frankly, to just put somebody in jail. It's a lot harder to meet their basic needs, to get them connected to services, and to get them housed. And that, I think, is a failure of our system right now, that it is easier to throw somebody in jail than it is to heal them and make them a better community member.
I mean, if we're fretting over cost per pupil, we should be, the number is astronomical to incarcerate somebody.
Yeah, we spend $512,000 a day in Vermont. You just think about what we could do with $500,000 a day to house people and to meet their basic needs. And what a better place we'd have.
A few years ago, I saw a documentary about you, Fair. I don't know if that's still out there or available, but I would recommend to listeners to check it out, because I learned a lot about your approach to law enforcement through that. And it was really fascinating. I learned a lot.
Yeah, that was Jennifer Hill and Dwayne Peterson did that film, To Be Fair. My middle name is Fair, so it was a play on that. It was really incredible. They followed me around everywhere for the 2022 election, and they did such a great job capturing what it was like to run in that time, again, when our community was not doing well, and COVID was still very much a thing. Everything was still online, and how do you connect with community when you can't really be in spaces? It was a really wild experience, and I think they did a great job to capture it in 23 minutes.
Yeah, I thought they did too. It was funny. I ran a statewide campaign that same year, and we had a very narrow defeat. And it was a little it was just so near to me. It was almost too soon when I saw it. But I was like, oh yeah, that was a very distinct time to be out on in the campaign trail.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So like I said, I work for Phoenix Books. Yeah. And so we talked a little about this, but I just want to pull a thread a little bit more. So we've really seen a lot of changes downtown. A lot of people have attributed that to the accountability court. And I'm wondering where your thoughts are and what has really created the different feeling, because it is different. It has definitely improved downtown. There's no question about it. I'm wondering if you can draw that out a little bit more for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So when COVID hit in March of 2020, our courts closed on March 15th of 2020. And by closed, I mean we didn't have any trials because we couldn't bring jurors. We couldn't bring 100 jurors into a room to pick a jury because of social distancing. Most state agencies reopened after a year, some a year and a half. The courts didn't reopen for 2.5 years. So we didn't have an opportunity to have a trial from May of 2020 to September of 2022. And what that meant is that we were bringing in all of the cases that were happening during COVID, charging those cases, but had no opportunity to resolve them because there was not the sort of threat of a trial. And that's typically what makes people resolve their cases. They need a deadline, and there was no deadline. And then when we did finally reopen, we had over 3,000 pending cases in our office, and over 1,000 of them were beyond deadlines. So backlog is what we have called them now. And we had 5 homicide cases in 2021 to 2022, and all of those gunfire incidents. So once we were able to have trials, those were always going to be our priority. Is trying those cases. And that's what we did for about 3 years. It took us because we could only do one a month, because a homicide trial would take all of our trial days. And so we did that. And so we were getting through all of these really big cases, but we weren't getting through any of the smaller ones. And I say smaller not to minimize the harm, because I know that the retail thefts and all of those were impacting the community really significantly. But again, every day of the week, we were going to try a shooting case or an attempted murder or a murder over a retail theft. And so that meant that our backlog just got bigger and bigger. And so people were being charged with all of that conduct, but we had no opportunity to actually hold them accountable because the cases were just getting pushed out and out and out. So when the governor got involved and asked, like, what do you need? What can we do? I said, the only way to get rid of this is to have a separate prosecutor, a separate judge, and a separate courtroom to just hear all of these repeat offender cases, all of these backlog cases. And, much to the governor's credit, he did it. He gave us what we needed. And DSA Waite from Franklin County came up and took it over, and all of those cases just went into that courtroom. They were given additional trial days too, separate from ours, so that if somebody wanted a trial, it wasn't just you have to plead guilty. It was like, no, if you want a trial, you have an opportunity for that. And in like 4 months, they were able to clear over 700 cases. Separate from that, I had sought and won a national grant for a diversion program. So I used that money I actually gave the money to VCJR and used them as the diversion holder, diversion program to individuals with substance use issues to go do contingency management through them. And that cleared another like 400 cases. So, and that program is still ongoing. We still have some money for that. Since the governor's funding kind of moved on to moved on to Rutland County, and now it's in Brattleboro, now that our heads are above water, we have our own new accountability docket. I don't like the name. That's why I put it, because everybody does get held accountable. It's just,
right.
It's more of like a rocket docket is like a better way to say it, because cases are getting heard really quickly. So people now, we're not waiting until they have 5 dockets. As soon as they have 2 or 3, they're coming into this alternative court, and they're being heard every single Friday. And Howard Center is in the courtroom, connecting them to contingency management, to substance use treatment, to residential treatment, to housing, which is a first for me to have the service provider in the courtroom. And those people are showing up. They're coming, and if they get a new charge, we know about it immediately, and we're addressing it. But so far, it has been incredibly successful. So people being held accountable, from my perspective, the timing is important. There has to be some reaction. It doesn't necessarily have to be a consequence, but there has to be a reaction quickly. And that has not happened for years because of the backlog, and now it is. Now people are being heard every week. They're in front of the same judge, Judge Kadams. They're in the same prosecutor, me, and there's no excuses. There's no you can't be like, well, I told this other judge this or this other, because it's always the same people. So there's no ability to play excuses or to justify anything. You're being held accountable really quickly. And we've gotten more people into residential treatment, into treatment court, into a diversion program, into housing than I've seen in years. So I think that's why. I think that it is there's almost an immediate reaction now in ways that there just have not been.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is that related to, adjacent, totally different from the City Circle program?
Well, they did kind of start around the same time.
Okay.
They are completely separate programs, but they did start at the same time. And so there's a very good chance that's completely separate from my office. Okay. But there's a very good chance that it's also impacting the feeling of consequences downtown, because my understanding of that program is now when police have an interaction with somebody, they can almost bring them directly to the Community Justice Center for some type of response, which is a very cool setup, especially in the new CJC space. It's much closer, it's much better, it's more welcoming. So I can imagine that is also having some great success.
Great, cool, all right.
I wanted to ask about the elimination of cash bail. If you could talk a little bit about what you feel is problematic about cash bail, and are you still seeing accountability? Are you still getting people showing up for their court dates, or has that become an issue for you?
Yeah, it's a great question. So in 2020, when the courts were closed, people were not being required to come to court. We couldn't have people coming to court. And yet there was people being held on cash bail for not coming to court. And that really highlighted for me how problematic cash bail is, because it doesn't actually ensure people come to court. It just requires poor people to sit in jail because they can't afford it. And when I asked DOC for a list of all the people from Chittenden County who were being held on cash bail, like 98% of the people had cash bail number, like less than $500 holding them, and sometimes for months, and on misdemeanor offenses. And every single one of them had a public defender assigned, which meant, these were not private attorney clients sitting in jail. This was poor people. And cash bail massively disproportionate is disproportionate to people of color. And so, which is another thing Vermont does not do well. We're one of the highest incarceration rates for Black and brown people compared to our racial makeup. And it doesn't actually, there's been research done nationwide that shows it doesn't actually impact people's likelihood to show up for court. So people have this idea like, oh, if you have this monetary amount of money that they have to post, then they're more likely to come. There's no evidence to support that. What it really does is just gets put into place with the sole purpose of hoping that person can't post it. So they sit in jail. And that is what happens. Like that is how it works in practice. And so, we didn't eliminate cash bail. It's still very much a thing because cash bail is decided by a judge. It's never decided by a prosecutor. So what my policy is that we won't ask for cash bail. And my primary reason for that, again, is that it's literally ransom from my perspective. You are not meeting that person's basic needs, so you're not actually making them a better community member when they come out. And in fact, there's research that shows that people who go into jail, even for as little as a week on cash bail on misdemeanor offenses or nonviolent offenses, is more likely to commit violence when they're released because of the circumstances they're exposed to while they're in jail, which is violence and isolation and separation from their community. So it actually makes us all less safe. And from my perspective, if people can just come to court every week, and we are seeing in accountability court that the same people that everybody thinks, have to have cash bail in order to show up are showing up. They're showing up because they know it's a Friday. And that's all they have to remember. We do try to give them the same time of day too, but honestly, if you come on Friday, whether your court's at 9 or 2, just come. And we've told people that, and they do. Because it's a manageable thing to remember. People don't show up for court because their court dates are 4 months away, and they're trying to figure out where they're going to eat or sleep. That's why they don't come. So if we give them more manageable court dates, and they know that when they come to that court date, somebody's going to be there to help them, they come. I try to have food and snacks available for them. In the winter, I had hats available for people. That's what people need. They need to be able to come in and feel not embarrassed, feel heard. And that can still be accountability. There's still, a lot of them are still pleading guilty, or they're still going to treatment court, or maybe even going to trial. But in the meantime, we're making them better community members. And that makes all of us safer. So I think that cash bail, it is still used in Chittenden County. Our judges still impose it when they think it's appropriate. But what the prosecutor's role has become is letting the court know what the facts are that support the statute. So judges will say to us, what does the state believe are the 7554 factors for risk of flight, which is what bail is for? We're officers of the court. We're going to answer that question. This person didn't show up on this day, or they don't have any ties to this community, or this, whatever the circumstances might be. And then the judge decides. And they they decide. Sometimes they impose it and sometimes they don't. But if they do, you can bet that a defense attorney is filing a motion to review bail within days. And the judges are often then releasing people. So after 3 days of sometimes losing housing, the one thing they had, 3 days can mean they lose that housing. So the consequences of cash bail far outweigh, in my opinion, the benefits. There's no evidence that it actually gets people to show up, and it does incredible harm while they're incarcerated. instead of just working on, and it's costly. It costs us so much money to incarcerate somebody, for $100 cash bail. I would much prefer that $300 a day go to housing that person. Hotel Vermont costs less than that a night. Like, we can be doing better with that money.
I think you still get the last
Final question. All right.
Yeah.
When you go to a Creemee stand here in Vermont,
Oh, boy.
what
So
are you
nervous.
ordering? Now the questions get hard.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. I really love the black raspberry maple combination, which when I first heard about it, I don't know if it was at Burlington Bay or at Palmer Lane, I was like, I don't know about this. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. So I love that combo. There is a place, and I hate to bring New Hampshire into this, which I think is very problematic when you're talking about a maple creamy. So,
Take a deep breath.
I know. But my brother lives in Meriden, and there's Max Maple in Plainfield, New Hampshire, that does these incredible maple creamies with their own maple syrup, and then is covered in crushed maple candy, which is like, and I haven't seen that. Maybe that is at a place around here, but I haven't seen that. And so it's like the only time I'll get maple syrup outside of Vermont.
And they call it Creemies in New Hampshire? In this
That's
stuff?
a good question.
Someone texted me a picture from New Hampshire of Creemies once.
Yeah, I
outside
think
the
they
coast.
do. I mean, whether they do or not, I would. So I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I would
you would.
ignore whatever they're calling it. But I do think they do. And I mean, there's like, I can have like 3 bites of it before I'm like, okay, this is too much sugar. But those 3 bites are pretty incredible. And somebody should come up with that here. Maybe somebody does. It's hard to imagine somebody doesn't, but
I've seen maple crunchies at the Palmer's truck.
yeah.
But this is the actual candy.
It's like the candy.
Wow.
Sugar
yeah.
concentrate.
Yeah,
Oh my-
that's really
basically,
sweet. Yeah.
I know.
That would be a lot for me too.
It is, but it's really nice in the meantime.
So you're up in Colchester. Do you ever go to Village Scoop?
Yes,
They
absolutely.
helped us out during our campaign.
Yeah, we actually live very close to Village Scoop in a way that is not always great. Yeah, it's awesome, but it's so busy all the
That's
time.
the deterrent. The line is
It
way out the door.
is,
Yeah.
yeah. And we never do the drive-through one because I just don't like it as much, but it's so long. But even standing in line sometimes, I'm like, wow, this place is packed all the time. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's like my favorite place in Colchester.
Yeah, it's great.
Cool. Oh, and okay, so maple crunchies. So again, no sprinkles. So I've lost this season. Yeah.
I don't like sprinkles.
Yeah, that's all right. We can still be friends.
Mostly because I have OCD and they're way too messy for me.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So was it 2 weeks ago now? I was at the Creemee window in Richmond and at Big Spruce, and I decided although I haven't been lately, but I usually get sprinkles, and I decided to get the Reese's Bits, and it just destroyed the Creemee.
Yeah.
It was just totally wrecking it, and I was like, okay, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah.
So
That's
those things
generally how
matter.
I feel, that they are just too messy when you have too much on top of them, which I feel about the maple candies too, but not for a couple bites.
Yeah. All right. I respect that. Cool. Well, thanks for coming on and
Thank
talking
you
with
so much
us.
for
It's
having
really
me.
fascinating.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really great. Thanks so much.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode.
Thank you all for listening.
Follow us between episodes for the latest updates on our socials at There's No A in Creemee on Instagram, Substack, and Blue Sky.
And catch us on our next episode of There's No A in Creemee, Vermont Politics, Culture, and Beyond in Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
I'm going to agenda master.
Thank God.
I'm owning
Thank
this.
goodness. It's not going to work otherwise.
Are you ready?
I think I am.